What if I told you that one of the biggest questions looming over the Atlanta Falcons defense isn't who will start, but rather what happens if just one of those starters goes down? The 2025 season is shaping up to be one of the most crucial in recent Falcons history. There's new leadership, fresh energy, and a revamped defense that looks set to take the league by storm. But before we dive into the details, be sure to hit that like button and I'll keep you updated. Now, hidden behind the optimism is a lingering question that, if left unaddressed, could undo all the hard work put in this offseason. And it starts with a name you're already familiar with, Mike Hughes. Now entering his third year with the Falcons, Hughes has become a fixture in the secondary. He's not the flashiest name, but when you look at the numbers, his performance speaks volumes. In 2024, Hughes started 15 games, gave up just 35 receptions, allowed just 2 touchdowns, and posted a solid 63.6% catch rate. Even more telling, he allowed just 405 yards, the lowest total in any season in which he played at least 250 snaps. But here's the catch. Literally and figuratively, he played just 1 snap in the slot last season. Despite that, earlier in the offseason, there were whispers about moving Hughes inside. Maybe shuffle him into the slot, shake things up. But that chatter quickly quieted when Clark Phillips III was moved inside and the Falcons brought in Billy Bowman Jr. via the draft. Still, Hughes hasn't ruled anything out. In fact, his response during minicamp was telling. It's been mostly outside, but you know, whatever they want me to do, I'm always willing to help the team, Hughes said. I got some familiarity in that position, so whether they want to throw me in there or not, it's whatever they think is best for the team. And that's the crux of the story, the willingness, the readiness, the quiet resolve of a player who, despite not making headlines, might just be one of the most crucial pieces to Raheem Morris' defensive puzzle. But if Hughes is your fallback plan for slot corner, then who's your backup if something happens to him or A.J. Terrell? That's where the problem gets loud. Sure, you've got Cobee Bryant entering the mix. He'll compete with Hughes, but right now, Hughes is the favorite to start opposite Terrell. Then there's the trio inside, Bowman Jr., Clark Phillips III, and D. Alford. A promising group? Yes. Proven depth? Not quite. Behind them? Mike Ford Jr., Natron Brooks, Kevin King, Keith Taylor, Lamar Jackson, and Dante Manning. Combined, those names have just 2 starts over the last 2 seasons, 64 starts in total, with 48 of those coming from Kevin King alone. Remove King, and the rest of the bench is essentially untested at the NFL level. And here's where things get dicey. One injury to Terrell or Hughes, and suddenly you're dipping into a pool of inexperience. A cornerback room that already felt thin becomes exposed. It's not just about finding someone to step in, it's about trusting that someone not to be the weak link that opponents target every single week. Could Clark Phillips move back outside? Maybe. But is that really the plan you want to rely on? That's why many believe General Manager Terry Fontenot needs to make one more move. One name that's been floated, purely hypothetically, is Jalen Ramsey. The dream? Trade for Ramsey, move Hughes to a backup role, and instantly upgrade both your starter and your depth. Realistic or not, it underscores the urgency. At the very least, the Falcons need to sign a higher caliber backup. Because no matter how good your starting lineup looks on paper, in the NFL, depth is what wins championships or loses seasons. So while fans are buzzing about newcomers like Deablo and rookies like Billy Bowman Jr., the reality is this: if the Falcons don't shore up their cornerback depth, all the aggressive scheming and pass rush firepower might not be enough to cover a glaring vulnerability. What do you think, Falcons fans? Is Mike Hughes enough to anchor the outside? And do you trust the depth behind him if something goes wrong? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And while we're talking about the corners, we can't overlook the big picture shift happening in this Falcons defense, because it's not just about who's on the roster, it's about how they're being used. That brings us to Divine Deablo, one of the more fascinating additions of the 2025 offseason. Let's be real, when the Falcons signed Deablo, the reaction was mixed. Some fans weren't quite sure what to expect. A converted safety from Virginia Tech, coming off 4 years with the Raiders, where he showed flashes but battled inconsistency. But then minicamp happened, and heads started to turn. His athleticism stands out. It's been unique, head coach Raheem Morris said. His length stands out. And really, him keying and diagnosing behind the ball, probably a lot better than we thought. That's no small praise coming from Morris. And the compliments didn't stop there. Caden Ellis, one of the leaders of this defense, called out a play in practice where Deablo tipped a pass, allowing Ellis to finish it off. He's got the length, he's got the speed, he's got the athleticism, and he's got the mentality, Ellis said. And that's the kind of buzz you want to hear when a new linebacker enters the fold, especially one stepping into the void left by Nate Landman. Landman was rock solid against the run, but his struggles in coverage were costly at times. Deablo, on the other hand, brings a different skill set. At 6'3", 3/4 inch and with legit speed, he's built to cover space and tight ends. Let's not forget, this coaching staff has a track record with this kind of player. Morris and defensive coordinator Jeff Ulbrich helped transform Foye Oluokun, another converted safety, into a tackling machine. In 2021, Oluokun led the entire league in tackles under their watch. Now they're working with a player who shares some of that DNA. For Deablo, the situation is clear. Grab the open seat next to Ellis and don't let go. With Troy Anderson recovering and Josh Woods holding down the vet role, this is his moment. And he knows it. I feel like I'm very tall, and I'm really fast, Deablo said. So I think my speed for sure. Add that speed to the revamped pass rush, Leonard Floyd bringing veteran juice off the edge, plus the disruptive presence of David Onyemata up front, and suddenly, this defense looks fast. Aggressive. Different. But again, it circles back to that one concern. All this energy and scheme versatility means nothing if the secondary can't hold the line. That's why Mike Hughes is more than just a role player. He's a linchpin. His ability to flex inside or outside, to cover consistently without blowing assignments, gives the Falcons options, but those options only matter if there's depth to support them. As we look ahead to training camp, the battles to watch are obvious. Hughes versus Bryant on the outside. Bowman versus Phillips versus Alford in the slot. And yes, who steps up as the true fourth corner, the one who can come in mid-game and not become a liability? Raheem Morris can't coach around injuries. No one can. But he can build a system where adaptability is the strength. Where players like Hughes, Deablo, and even backups like Clark Phillips aren't just names on a depth chart, they're chess pieces in a flexible, fast defense. But that flexibility needs one final move to be complete. Fontenot's front office has one more shot to seal the cracks before week 1. So now it's your turn, Falcons Nation. Are you buying into the new-look defense? Do you think Deablo is the real deal? And what would you do to solve the cornerback depth dilemma? Hit that like if you're hyped for this season, and smash that subscribe button to stay locked in with everything Falcons all year long. Go Falcons!